When did you realize that you're a terrible person? Cause everyone I try to get close to tends to flee. Sometimes you're the common denominator, my dude. Me too. And the only people who don't only stay because they care more about me than they do about themselves. Ouch, thanks for the perspective. My ex told me she never realized how miserable she was with me. I looked at our relationship from her side and realized that I wasn't giving 100%. I judged her a lot, only went to see when I wanted to, stopped taking her on dates, let myself go a bit and blamed her for not making me feel attractive anymore. A lot of things that I'm working on fixing right now, not to win her back but to just feel better about myself. I realized that I was just a very self-centered person. Not even on purpose, but I just genuinely didn't try to consider the effects my actions had on other people, and I was the constant one-upper in conversations. I had to constantly make things about me. Took a lot of work to try to change my mindset and is still a work in progress. I realized that as well. Every time someone says some personal issue, I have to go and say about mine. I don't even think about talking about their problems, I want to talk about mine. And I doing that just now. For me it wasn't any sudden moment of reflection or anything, but more of a slow and creeping realization. You just come to slowly accept it, like each day you consider yourself a bit less of a good person and more of a bad person. I think it's the choice to do something about it. I let a bit the foil from my burrito fall on the floor of an escalator. Do I choose to be a bad person or choose to try? So I pick up the foil. The sum total of little acts are a life well lived. A few years ago, while helping a friend move some furniture, his 70-ish mother picked up a curtain rod from a pile of them leaning in a corner. Among them was a cast iron one that was very heavy. It fell and knocked her unconscious in a very cartoonish kind of way. It hit her, she straightened up and just fell over backwards. I laughed and could not stop. I realized after a few moments that everyone was staring at me as though I just shit on the dining room table. Yep. I am a terrible person. TLDR, laughing at old ladies being knocked unconscious is a faux pas. I noticed as a teenager but kind of ignored it. My wife's behavior and responses to things really makes it clear though. She'll say or react to something and I'll be like, oh yeah, probably should have said X or done Y. I mean, now that you know, you try to do better, right? I feel like that's normal. I mess up with stuff too, but I'm getting better. Man, I eyes Gio be a real bonehead too. When I found out Allison Mack and Kristen Krug, of Smallville, were part of a sex cult that trafficked women, and my first thought was that I'd love to be in a sex cult with Allison Mack and Kristen Krug. I've discovered I'm only a terrible person when driving. I'm not really sure why me getting behind the wheel makes me want everyone else on the road to die in fiery crash, but there it is. I recently had to drive about 40 minutes in city traffic with a friend and he said that he no longer wanted to drive anywhere with me. I get super angry. I never road rage, but I just get progressively bitchier as the trip goes on, making snide comments about literally everyone, even if they aren't actually doing wrong. When I had convinced myself my boyfriend was abusive, then looked up signs of an abusive relationship and they were all things I had done to him. I think it takes a lot to realize that, and I'm trying hard to get better. I will always feel terrible. If you wouldn't mind sharing some details, what led you to believe your boyfriend was abusive? Just now. Thanks a lot. Jerk. I know, right? Op your douche. Now let's go do some Jaeger shots and kick a few bums. When kids make me angry enough that I imagine popping them in the face. I read pooping. What a weird thought that was. I almost typed pooping due to autocorrect and fat fingers. But, yeah, you're a sick bastard. I make tons of mistakes, and I'm still the one that's mad and offended when I get called out for them. When I hurt people either physically or emotionally, be it by mistake or intentionally, and they retaliate, my mind goes to their assholes instead of maybe I shouldn't have done what I did. I do and say whatever comes to mind, with disregard for anything else. I always procrastinate and delay things until the last moment. When I'm talking about someone, I degrade them, even when the person I talk about is myself. I avoid good people just to be seen in a good light by the people that interest me, even if in the end I'd be way better off if I spent time with those good people instead. I ask for honest opinions about things and then dismiss them as insincere or malicious if they don't please me. If I had to betray a person close to me in order to gain something of sizable value, advance further in a career, etc., I'll do it in a heartbeat. I care more about what impression I leave on people and how others think of me, at the price of other, more important things, sometimes to the point of making me leave a worse impression compared to if I didn't care. And there's so many more things. So many ducking more. And the problem is, I regret everything like 2 seconds later after I do it. I hate the way I am and the way I do things, and yet I make no effort whatsoever to change. I let my life crumble away, and I don't do anything about it. I cry about it every other day. I feel sad and broken, yet I refuse to improve myself. If I hate my life, I seem to dread working towards a better goal, towards self-improvement, towards anything ever that could make me feel better. Sometimes I think I subconsciously enjoy being sad, that some sadistic demon inside me loves to see me cry and feel depressed, to see me crave other people's attention yet not do anything to gain said attention, to make me want to kill myself every day, then forcefully insert the idea of what about the people that care about you? Won't they be hurt? In my head just so I can keep going one more day and repeat the cycle that feeds it. That's why I'm a terrible person. When I realized most of my responses to things my classmates tell me are Jesus Christ, I hate you so much and kill me please. It sounds edgy, but in context, I'm just being a dick. I went through that phase too. When I realized that pretty much everyone I become friends with I end up either acting stupid or doing something to piss them off, and then I cut them out of my life because I'm afraid they hate me, and then they start to actually hate me. When I decided to stop pleasing family and my community and just did and said whatever came to mind, I feel happier now. Before I was a fraud and I knew it and I hated myself so much. Now I'm more than okay with myself. How did your family take your new manner towards them? Probably when I was robbing everyone I know so I could sell their shit for more heroin. Repeatedly cheating on my then GF, who obviously left me, lying to everyone, etc. When I got a boner while trying to comfort a female friend that is going through hard times. Hard times indeed. My job involves selling/developing software that often eliminates jobs. I don't justify it as someone else would do it, I just don't care. I once saw a homeless pregnant girl on the street begging for change. Instead of feeling sorry and giving her money, I was extremely angry that she would get pregnant in that situation. It never occurred to me till a few days later she could have been raped, or kicked out by her parents, and I've since tried and like to think I've succeeded in trying to put myself in other people's shoes before I judge them. Homeless people probably don't have the best access to birth control, don't have to have gotten kicked out or raped for this to be sad. A common response I've heard to that is don't have sex if you can afford birth control, but claiming that intimacy is not something for poor people seems kind of callous. When I started wishing that my mom, who is ALS and is completely bed-bound, and has been for 3 years, would just die already. I quit nursing school 3 years ago to be her full-time caregiver so that she wouldn't have to live in a nursing home. My 2 sisters barely helped as they had real jobs to go to. Now, we have nurses who are covered by my mom's Medicaid/Medicare, and I only have to stay with her 2 or 3 days a week. I'm paid for my time now and I know that's shitty, but it's the only thing that keeps me coming back. She can't talk or move at all. I'm 26, and my fiancé and I have a 5-year-old son. I just wanted to focus on building my life with them. When I realized that I loathe every second of talking to any of my relatives. I don't feel bad when I hear that people have died, usually. I feel worse when I hear that a complete stranger dies, for whatever reason. I agree with this. I feel next to no compassion when I hear someone that one of my friends or family cared about died. I just wanted to get on with the conversation. Ate mushrooms in the woods with a group of close friends. Realized how shit I was and decided to make a change. Now I tell people I used to be a total asshole and they are baffled. When I found myself growing more and more comfortable wishing, in the moment, that people who do relatively innocuous yet infuriating things would ducking vanish from the earth. When I'm not in the moment I don't think it anymore, but if I miss the bus by like 3 seconds because someone was blocking my path, or if someone is on the train listening to something on their phone extremely loudly without headphones, I wish horrific things on them at that very moment. Who I am hates who I've been. This seems like more of a mistake than a reflection on your character. Knowingly cutting into a funeral procession is when you're a bad person. When I realized I'm a disappointment to my parents. They won't say such things out loud, of course, but I know it's true. How adults react to their great/grandparents dying. She was 93, Fran. What did you expect to happen? Relax. My great-grandmother is 89 and has dementia and Alzheimer's. I just want her to die. She seems miserable and I just can't imagine being trapped in your body with your mind withering away. That if I could get away with it, I'd actually sit on the roof all day and night sniping people who rev their engines next to the busy main street I've lived at my whole life. I know there is no point in doing so because you're always less than 1 minute from a red light. To reiterate, I would take great joy in ending these lives. That's how I know. Just cause someone's disabled doesn't mean they can talk loudly on the phone. Or did I just realize something about myself? Realizing that good intentions are not an excuse to do dickish things. The truth is everyone believes what they do is with the best of intentions, but it doesn't make them right. I criticized Rihanna for being a loser after getting back with Chris Brown and was immediately called a jerk for not understanding the cycles of abuse and victim shaming. When my GF died, her parents reached out and offered to get me to the ceremony. I ghosted them and what feels like skipped a month until realizing what really happened and what I did afterwards. I had similar issues a while back, and after a few therapy sessions I realized that I was actually very sad. Not saying this is definitely what you're experiencing, but there could be something else contributing to that anger. I cheated on my boyfriend of a year after lying to him about where I was going and who I'd be with. He agreed to stay with me and work on things even after I betrayed him, and then I broke up with him a few days later because it was too hard. I then started dating the guy I cheated on him with. That guy broke up with me after a month. Then I realized I can add liar, cheater, bad judge of character, selfish, impulsive, idiot, and about a million other things to my list of faults. I think I kinda always knew I would never become a good one. Indifference, I guess. I'm kinda interested about this. When my wife was talking to my ex-GF and my wife casually mentioned that I was out with my friends. My ex was surprised I had any friends. My wife asked her why she'd think that and she told her don't take this the wrong way but he pushes people away and never gets close to anyone. All my friends thought he was an asshole. It's true I turn down 90% of the invites and get from friends or colleagues. I like having friendly acquaintances but man, how do you choose friends? It just seems like so much work and I really value my alone time on weekends. It took many years and lots of hard work, but I finally managed to overcome my conditioning to be the person I was meant to be. Unicorn? Polish miner. I'm suicidal and tell everyone that loves me how bad I want to die regularly. I don't feel empathy towards anyone who is suffering. I'm pretty lazy and don't like to do anything ever, so I've pretty much cut ties with my whole family and have lost a friend because some weeks I'd rather just sit in the dark and watch videos more than hang out. My health is in steady decline and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm also a terrible driver. When I had a bunch of people start treating me like shit and I got upset only to realize that's exactly how I treat everybody else. Since then I've been more self-aware and socially aware about what I say and do with people. Thanks for listening to another episode of Reddit X. Subscribe and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any stories. Feel free to share your own stories below in the comments. Have a good day.